Hello. The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how you order Sharktech's new public cloud service and to showcase the basics of the platform. Let's start by logging into the client area. Okay, now we've logged in. You have to go to Order, Service Type, select Public Cloud Hosting. And here we have 4 different tiers. For today's video, I'm going to go with Medium. So the Medium package, what you're committing to with this base price is 8 vCPU cores. You can scale up to 32 at this much per hour per vCPU. Same thing with memory. You're committing to 16 gigs. Scale up to this at this much per hour per gigabyte of memory. Storage, same thing. IPs, 1 IP is included, but you can have up to 16. Each additional IP is $2.5 a month. Bandwidth is calculated at outbound, not inbound. Locations, we currently only have LA or Los Angeles, but we will be deploying this service in all of our data centers by the end of the year. Resource tiers, just like the first page you saw. I'm going with medium, but you can go to large or enterprise, small. I'm going to go with medium. And it's the same details that I explained up here, right here. Go add cart. I'm going to pick wire transfer here so I don't have to fill out any information, and I have read and agreed to the terms of service and acceptable use policy. Complete order. What the system is doing right now is it's setting up a domain and it's setting up the project within the public cloud infrastructure. Okay, now it's done. I already have two other projects or services that are part of the public cloud, but the one I ordered today is medium. A couple of things that are interesting here. Panel login, which is what you click to get to the panel. Service ID. So every time you order another public cloud service, the service ID is going to be the project ID within the platform. Domain ID, again, important because each customer gets one domain allocated to them. So let's log in. Panel login. As you can see, I'm redirected here to /login/10.579, which is the domain. Copy this user, password, sign in. So this is the dashboard for the project 41275. The one we want is 41290. So I'm going to find it here in the drop-down menu. And these are the resources that I can use. I can go up to 32 vCPUs, 64 gigs of RAM, 16 total IPs. One important note here is that default is SSD. Now, to do anything on the platform, you have to move on to compute. And under compute, you can create virtual machines, security groups for your network, like what is permitted, what is not. Create a Kubernetes cluster. See a list of all the available images, templates, ISOs, and so on. Volumes. it's basically your storage, but each virtual machine is going to have a volume, and it's going to be listed here, and you're going to be able to take snapshots and so on here. Networks, right now you have access to the public network, but you can create your own network or as many networks as you want. For example, you can go in here. IP management means that we're going to run a DHCP server for you, so let's say test private, and then you can put in a subnet CIDR, gateway, allocation pools, DNS servers, and so on. I'm not going to create this now, but just showcasing it. Routers. This router is basically a Tier 3 net router. You can bind a public interface to the internet and then one interface to the local network. And in networks, you can set that IP off the router as a gateway, and that way they can communicate with the internet. Floating IPs. Basically, if you deploy a virtual machine on a private network, you can use a floating IP that basically gets NATed to your virtual machine. Load balancers. Here you can create load balancers that can load balance anything, basically. HTTP, HTTPS, whatever. You can create that here. SSH keys, very important. Right now, all of the Linux templates that are in the system, you're going to have to use an SSH key to be able to log into them. So you have to upload or add your SSH key here, and then when you go to virtual machines, create a new one, give it a name, specify an image, so CentOS 8, boot volume. You can edit this to be 100 gig, move it from SSD to slow HDD, or move it to NVMe. I'm just going to leave it there. You can add another one too if you want to. I'm not going to do that. Flavors, you have different flavors here. If you look at the tiny one here, you have one vCPU core and 1 gigs of RAM, and it just goes up and up. I'm going to click medium. Network interfaces. Because we didn't create the other network, but right now you can only pick the public, and go back here. This is where those security groups are. There's this one default right now. Done. And then SSH key. Yeah, so you're going to have to use this to get access to your machine. I'm not going to deploy the virtual machine. I'm just showcasing this for now. So one other important thing here is as the domain admin, you can go up here to the domain 10.5.7.9. You have a list of users here, and you can also list all the projects. As you can see here, dashboard, I have 3 services, 3 projects. Now let's go back to users, and you can create a user here. Let's go to test. Role, you can give him domain administrator. That means he has full rights to this domain and has access to all the projects. Or you can do project member. If you don't assign the user to any project, they have access to all of them. But you can say assign here and just be giving them access to a specific one or 2 of them, or whichever. This is a brief showcase and introduction to the new public cloud. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.